You know that feeling when your gut tells you something's wrong, but you can't quite put your finger on it? That's where I was a few months ago. I noticed the kids seemed different around their mother. They weren't running to greet her at the door anymore. They'd make excuses to stay in their rooms when she was home. At first I thought maybe it was just a phase, you know how kids can be. But the feeling wouldn't go away. It gnawed at me, this uncomfortable sensation in the pit of my stomach that something in our home had shifted. My wife and I had been together for years, built a life together, raised beautiful children together. I trusted her completely, or at least I thought I did. But those small signs from the kids kept piling up, and I couldn't ignore them anymore. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I looked through her phone. I know, it's an invasion of privacy, and under normal circumstances, I'd never condone it. But sometimes you just know something's terribly wrong, and you need answers. What I found shattered my entire world. Messages, so many messages, different names, different conversations, all saying things that no married person should be saying to anyone but their spouse. The timeline went back almost a year. A whole year of lies, of her coming home and kissing me goodnight while carrying on with multiple other people. A whole year of me being completely oblivious, playing the fool while she lived a double life. I sat there in our bedroom, the phone trembling in my hands, trying to process what I was seeing. How could I have missed this? Were there signs I ignored? Was I so caught up in work and being a good father that I completely missed my marriage falling apart? The betrayal cut deeper than anything I'd ever experienced. This was the person I'd chosen to spend my life with, the mother of my children, my partner through everything life had thrown at us. The worst part wasn't even the cheating itself, though that was devastating enough. It was the realization that for an entire year, every kiss was a lie, every I love you was hollow, every family dinner where we sat together, pretending to be this perfect unit, was built on deception. How many times had she looked me in the eye and lied without even flinching? I wanted to confront her immediately. Every fiber of my being wanted to throw that phone at her and demand answers, to let out all the pain and anger and confusion swirling inside me. But something stopped me. Maybe it was the lawyer in me, always thinking 3 steps ahead. Maybe it was the father in me, knowing I had to protect my kids above everything else. So instead of confronting her, I started gathering evidence. Screenshots, dates, everything I could find. I reached out to lawyers, 4 different ones, to understand my options. We had a prenup, thankfully, one that covered assets and custody arrangements. But I needed to know exactly where I stood before making any moves. Each lawyer I consulted told me the same thing. With what I'd found, I had grounds to pursue full custody. That gave me something to hold on to, a light at the end of this dark tunnel. My kids were my world, and knowing I could fight to keep them safe made the pain slightly more bearable. But living with this secret was torture. Every day I had to wake up next to her, share meals with her, maintain the facade of our marriage while dying inside. I had to watch her interact with our children, knowing what she was doing behind all our backs. I had to smile and nod when she talked about her day, wondering which parts were true and which were carefully constructed lies. The kids still avoided her, and now I understood why. Children are intuitive. They sense things even when they don't fully understand them. They knew something was wrong with their mother, even if they couldn't articulate it. Watching them pull away from her broke my heart all over again. She wasn't just destroying our marriage, her actions were affecting our children's relationship with her. I made an appointment with my therapist, asked for referrals for the kids. I knew that when this all came out, when the divorce proceedings began, they'd need support. I needed to have everything in place, every safety net ready to catch them when their world inevitably fell apart. Some people might think I should have confronted her immediately, that keeping quiet made me weak. But I wasn't being weak, I was being strategic. I was protecting my children and ensuring that when everything came crashing down, I'd be in the best position to give them stability and security. Sometimes love means making the hard choices, even when every instinct screams at you to act on emotion. So I waited. I gathered evidence, consulted lawyers, prepared for the inevitable, and I lived with the weight of knowing that my marriage, the life I'd built, the future I'd imagined, was already over. I was just going through the motions, buying time until I could end things on my terms in a way that would protect the people who mattered most. The ship had already sunk. I was just waiting for the right moment to abandon it. Living with betrayal is exhausting. Every morning I woke up next to someone who'd been lying to me for a year. Every evening I came home to a house that felt more like a stage set than a home. But I kept my composure, played my role, and worked with my lawyer to build the strongest case possible for my kids' future. Then came an unexpected opportunity. Our children came down with the flu, complicated by seasonal allergies. The poor kids were miserable, congested, unable to smell anything. Around the same time, we'd send our couch out for cleaning. It wouldn't be back until the next day, which meant my wife and I would have to share our bed that night. Under normal circumstances, this wouldn't matter. But these weren't normal circumstances, and I saw a chance for a small, petty act of revenge. I'm not proud of the thoughts that went through my head, but I'm being honest here. After months of swallowing my anger, of pretending everything was fine while my world crumbled around me, I wanted her to suffer. Not in any permanent or harmful way, but I wanted her to experience even a fraction of the discomfort she'd caused me. I wanted one night where she was the uncomfortable one, where she was the one wishing she was anywhere else. So I came up with a plan. A ridiculous, juvenile, absolutely petty plan. But sometimes, when you're drowning in pain and powerlessness, even the smallest act of control feels necessary. I changed my entire diet. Deliberately. Strategically. I started eating every food I knew would cause digestive issues. Eggs, lots of them. A dozen over the course of a day. Cabbage, steamed and seasoned. Bean stew, the kind that sits heavy in your stomach. Chili with extra spices. Sweet potatoes, steamed until they were soft and sweet. Red meat, plate after plate of it, and a burrito to top it all off. These were all foods I enjoyed normally, but I usually ate them in moderation because they had consequences. Gas, lots of it. The kind that could clear a room. The kind that even I found difficult to tolerate. And my wife, she was incredibly sensitive to smells. I'd seen her get sick at a barbecue once after I'd had some digestive issues. She'd actually vomited from the smell. The plan was simple. She'd come home from work, tired and unsuspecting. We'd go to bed together because there was no other option, and I'd unleash the consequences of my strategic eating all night long. The kids couldn't smell anything, so they'd be fine, but she'd be trapped in that bedroom with me, experiencing every single consequence of my deliberately terrible dietary choices. Was it mature? Absolutely not. Was it the high road? Not even close. But after months of being the understanding husband, the patient father, the careful strategist building a legal case, I needed this. I needed one moment where I wasn't the victim, where I had some control, where I could make her uncomfortable the way she'd made me emotionally devastated. I told myself it was karma. The universe had aligned to give me this perfect opportunity. The kids couldn't smell, so they wouldn't be affected. The couch was gone, so there were no alternatives. She'd have to endure it just as I'd been enduring the knowledge of her betrayal every single day. As I continued eating throughout the day, I could already feel my stomach churning. This was going to be bad. Really bad. The kind of digestive distress that would make the night absolutely miserable for anyone in close proximity. Part of me felt guilty. Part of me felt childish. But the larger part, the part that had been hurt and humiliated and lied to for a year, felt satisfied. She had no idea what was coming. She went to work that morning like any other day, completely unaware that I'd been methodically preparing for this moment. She didn't know that I knew about her affairs. She didn't know that I'd been gathering evidence and consulting lawyers. And she definitely didn't know that I'd spent the entire day eating every gas-inducing food I could think of. I kept eating, pushing through even when I felt uncomfortably full. Another plate of beans, more eggs, another serving of cabbage. I was committed to this plan, determined to see it through. My stomach was already protesting, already preparing to make the night as toxic as the relationship I was trapped in. The irony wasn't lost on me. Here I was, preparing to create a physically toxic environment for one night, while she'd been creating an emotionally toxic environment for an entire year. One night of discomfort for her versus 12 months of betrayal for me. It seemed like a fair trade. As evening approached and I heard her car pull into the driveway, I felt my stomach gurgle ominously. The symphony was about to begin, and she had no idea she'd bought a front row ticket. The evening started innocently enough. My wife came home from work, tired as usual. The kids were in the living room, still congested but in relatively good spirits despite feeling under the weather. We had dinner together, and I made sure to have one more serving of everything I'd been eating all day. She didn't suspect a thing. When bedtime came, she sighed about the missing couch. We had no choice but to share the bed. The kids were tucked in, unable to smell anything thanks to their congestion. They were safe from what was about to unfold. I almost felt bad. Almost. Then it began. The first one was loud enough that the kids heard it from their room. They burst into giggles, delighted by the funny noises their dad was making. Their laughter was pure and innocent, the kind that reminded me why I was fighting so hard for them in the divorce. I called out an apology, blaming a dish that had been sitting in the fridge, claiming it must have gone bad. My wife had actually eaten some of that same dish for lunch and was dealing with some stomach discomfort herself, so she believed me completely. She had no idea this was deliberate, that I'd been planning this all day. The irony of her suffering from actual food while being oblivious to my my strategic attack wasn't lost on me. As the night progressed, things escalated. My stomach was a churning factory of the most unpleasant consequences imaginable. Every food I'd consumed was working together in terrible harmony. The smell filled the bedroom, thick and overwhelming. Thank goodness the kids couldn't smell anything. My wife started gagging. Then she ran to the bathroom. I heard her getting sick, and while part of me felt guilty, another part felt vindicated. This was one night of physical discomfort. She'd given me a year of emotional devastation. The scales weren't balanced, not even close, but it was something. She came back to bed, looking pale and miserable. I apologized profusely, playing the concerned husband. Then it happened again. Another wave, another rush to the bathroom. This cycle continued throughout the night. At one point, she didn't make it to the bathroom in time and got sick in the hallway. I got up to help her clean, genuinely wanting to help despite everything, and then my stomach betrayed me with another unexpected release. The smell was so overwhelming that she got sick again, right there in the hallway. According to her, I had soiled the ambient air. She wasn't wrong. The entire bedroom had become uninhabitable. She grabbed a pillow and blanket and made a bed on the floor in another room, unable to stand being in the same space anymore. She told me the air itself felt contaminated. I lay there in bed, alone finally, listening to my stomach continue its protest. The kids had laughed themselves to sleep earlier, finding the whole thing hilarious in that way only children can. They were safe, happy, and completely unaware of the true purpose behind the evening's events. That was all that mattered. As Monday morning arrived, I found myself working from home, making frequent trips to the bathroom. The aftermath of my dietary choices was hitting me hard. My stomach was in revolt, punishing me for the excess of the previous day. But even as I sat there uncomfortable, I couldn't help but feel it was worth it. Was it mature? No. Was it the right thing to do? Probably not. But after months of being the bigger person, of keeping quiet while gathering evidence, of pretending everything was fine while my heart broke every single day, I needed that one night. I needed to not be the victim, even if just for a few hours. My wife spent Monday recovering, still pale and exhausted. She had no idea why I'd been so affected by supposedly bad food, didn't question why my digestive issues had been so severe. She just wanted to forget the entire night had happened. Meanwhile, I continued working with my lawyer. The evidence we'd gathered was solid. The case for full custody was strong. Everything was falling into place, and I could take my time ensuring the divorce proceedings would protect my children above all else. There was no rush. My kids were safe, avoiding their mother naturally without me having to say anything. As long as they were okay, I could continue playing the fool who didn't know he was being cheated on. The petty revenge didn't fix anything. It didn't undo the betrayal or heal the hurt, but it gave me one moment of control in a situation where I'd felt powerless for so long. One night where she was the uncomfortable one, where she suffered consequences, even if she didn't understand what they were really for. Looking back, I know some people will judge me for it. They'll say I should have taken the high road, that stooping to petty revenge makes me just as bad. But I don't think they understand what it's like to live with betrayal every single day, to look at someone you once loved and see a stranger who's been lying to you for a year. The divorce is coming. The papers are almost ready. Soon this chapter of my life will close, and a new one will begin. One where I'm a single father, focused entirely on giving my children the stable, honest home they deserve. One where I don't have to pretend anymore, don't have to smile through the pain, don't have to share a bed with someone who destroyed our family. But for now, I have the memory of one night where karma worked in my favor. One night where the toxic partner got a taste of toxicity, even if she never understood the true meaning behind it. And honestly, that's enough for me.